Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well today. I'm gonna try to do this video from Survival Lily again. For whatever reason, I'm not sure why the audio didn't work, but she brought forth some really good info, some intel she got from someone who follows her channel, and they work in the insurance industry. And so they were describing some of the pilot projects they are working on, and I'm assuming that this is a national or international insurance company in Europe. It's based out of Germany. But they are basically giving you an inside scoop of what the future will look like in order for you to be insured, how you will be constantly monitored, how these various pilot projects are already either in the works or already have been completed, and how they're going to collect data from everywhere, from your car, from your cell phone, from cell towers, from satellites that are in space, to determine how they are going to bill you. And so basically, this new system is nothing more than a reboot of the existing white supremacist system that we have. It's still going to be discriminatory. It's still going to exclude people from certain things. And if you are already behind the power curve because of poverty, because of, historic oppression that was done by the hands of the state, you're not going to be any better off once this new stuff is instituted. And so I'm going to play the video so that you can listen to it and hopefully share some insight as to how these things will connect to us. And even though this is happening in Europe, it is going to come here. And I can't stress this enough. Some of these things have already been done here, piloted here, and we've participated in them. But a lot of things are being rolled out in other countries first, because Mystery Babylon got to fall, and it's going to fall hard, and people are going to resist. And so they have to do whatever they're going to do here last. So let's get into this video.
I want to report to you a very important and also very concerning message that I've gotten from one of my viewers. And he responded with this message to my last video, which was about the digital IDs. Okay, so now let's dive right into this message, which I find personally really concerning and even frightening. Okay, let's go. I work in the IT department of a very large, renowned insurance company headquartered in Germany. Unfortunately, what I tell my circle of friends and relatives about my projects, they dismiss as conspiracy theory. Many people don't see or understand what will happen to us with this great digitalization revolution, especially the possible dangers and misuse. Here's a small excerpt of the pilot projects we are working on. Topic: Digitized car. Pilot projects are already underway. In the next 10 years, it will no longer be possible to insure old hams. So with old hams, he means an old car, the same one that I drive, for example. In one of my last videos, I mentioned my car, which is really old and I still love it. And he also drives an old car. So those old cars, you will not be able to insure anymore in the next 10 years.
So that means if your car runs by fossil fuel and it's oil and it's old and you're not getting it modified, which is not going to be possible, you won't be able to get insurance, which means you won't be able to drive, which means you will have to have an alternative or buy a new electric vehicle in order to get around. So if you're in a city, you're not going to be able to afford a electric car. If you can, they're only going to have limited parking spots. So depending on where you live, you may have to get your home retrofitted. So they're nudging you into this new system, and you're going to need transportation. If you're accustomed to having your own transportation, there's going to be a heavy price to pay. But If you have an old car and you think you're just going to be scooting around here, you're not going to have an old car because they're not going to let you drive it. And if you do try to drive it, you're going to be so poor trying to drive it. You will either gladly switch over to an electric car or use public transportation if that is a requirement in your area.
So you will be forced to buy a digital car. Otherwise, you won't get insurance. These cars are online 24/7 and in real time in touch with the insurance, traffic authorities, remote maintenance, surveillance, and authorities.
So this is why this broadband needs to go up everywhere. It ain't about making it affordable. It ain't about making it accessible or making sure people in rural areas can have the internet or kids in school can have the internet to work at home or when we're locked down. The real deal is this. Once they get all this stuff installed, wherever your car drives is always going to be connected to some type of internet. That's what Starlink is all about. That's why we got all this stuff. Everybody trying to get into space and put stuff up there. This is what it's about. You're going to have stuff pinging and tinging all the time, whether it's your phone or your car or your house. Um, Everything is going to have you under surveillance and it is going to be telling on you. So listen at what happens when it tells on you.
Depending on your style, time, speed, driver, your insurance premium will automatically adjust. For example, if you drive too fast and risky, you will not only get to pay a fine to the magistrate, but also your insurance premium automatically increases. Let's register you as a night driver. You will get a higher premium. If you have more passengers in the car, you will get a higher premium. If your premium is not paid, you will no longer be able to start your car. We are already in discussions with several major automotive brands to bring a Europe-wide standardized technical one-size-fits-all solution onto the market.
So this is what in America, now I can't speak for Europe, but in America, in the infrastructure bill that was passed in 2020, 2021, they passed a law where kill switches will have to be in all cars made by 2020, starting in 2026. They've already been putting them in cars. People already have cars that won't start if you don't make the payment. So it's only going to get worse where as you can't drive the old cars because they're not able to control those and they're not modified. So when you buy a new car, your new car is not only going to be computerized and hooked to the internet, it's going to tell on you. It is also going to be able to report your behavior and it won't start if they don't want it to start. If you can't pay your insurance or say you forget to pay your bills, um, your car won't start. You could be any place and your car won't start. So like this digitalization is going to be super, super dangerous. It's going to make people, it's just going to be bad for society because it's not going to take into consideration people forgetting stuff, the elderly getting locked out of accounts. What happens if stuff is hacked? What happens if your accounts are closed? You could just forget to pay your bill. Maybe your check is late. Um, if they're going to be taking money out of your bank account, because with programmable CBDCs, they'll be able to immediately take money out of your account if your rate increases, or if you get a fine, they're going to take that money out and pay whatever municipality or locality immediately. So it's going to be a system set up to where you're not going to be able to escape. And that is pretty scary.
Many people don't know that fully integrated breathalyzers, AlcoGuard, will be mandatory in the coming vehicle generations. This means that if you are drunk, you will no longer be able to start your car. Even if you are below the minimum alcohol limit, This data will be passed on to the insurance company and you will be penalized with a higher premium. If you're drunk beyond this limit, the relative authorities will automatically be informed and your insurance will be cancelled immediately. Transparent customer. We are also relying on the upcoming digital ID to access personal data such as health, traffic, home, etc.
So did you hear that? You got to have a breathalyzer in the new cars. So say you go out to dinner, you have a glass of wine. If you drink while you're driving and you have to blow in this car in order for the car to move, even if you had wine, the car is going to snitch on you and your insurance premium is going to go up. So there is no incentive for you to do anything with your car. If you're going to drink, you got to be at wherever you're going to drink at and stay there. You can't go out and socialize. So you know how people get in the car and be like, I'm below the legal limit. I'm okay. Your car's still gonna tell on you. So you can be in a digital prison. The only way you're gonna be able to move about if you're intoxicated in any way, shape, or form is either using public transportation, using a bike, or walking. But whatever you do, they're going to always know your business. So, even if you buy the alcohol, if you have a digital wallet, digital ID, digital banking, CBDC, currency, they will know everything that you do. And so this is coming very soon within the next couple of years. I saw where they're trying to get rid of fossil fuel usage, period. And if that's the case, a lot of people are not going to be able to move around because you can't afford to drive the fossil fuel car. And you're not going to want the new digital cars that are coming out because they are nothing more than the police. So we're talking about this because I just want you to understand how close we are to these things happening. It's 2024. By 2026, these new cars are going to be rolling off of the assembly lines if they're not already. And a lot of automakers are already retrofitting their companies to accommodate the new laws in this um, sustainable development sustainable development goals agenda so that we can do our part to save the planet.
The background is that all the necessary customer data is already stored somewhere, and as long as it does not leave the European Union, everything is fine for the insurance sector with the GDPR. Nowadays, customers also carelessly give their OK under the small print that we can collect their personal data. In real time, we collect medical records, living conditions, vehicle data, etc. in the event of damage. Upcoming pilot projects are planned with credit institutions, banks, to reward a healthy lifestyle and punish an unhealthy one, in which we monitor.
So, did you hear that? Insurance companies are going to be able to reward healthy lifestyles and penalize unhealthy lifestyles. Now, they already have enough data because these insurance companies have been instituting these preventative health measures. Even the government, when they came out with Obamacare, that's what Obamacare was about. It was about preventative health care, getting an electronic health record system so they could collect all this data. So that's why, people were like, oh, the doctors don't want to serve, do. They don't want to serve poor people. They don't want to give over their information. Those doctors were ridiculed. And I was one of the people initially who thought that way. But in the middle of all that debacle with that rollout of the Affordable Care Act, which they call Obamacare, I began to see how intrusive the electronic health record systems were, why doctors opted out of it, why doctors um, went back to the old way of doing things. And if they had well off patients who had different types of insurance, they just did not take um, patients who had Medicare and Medicaid because they didn't want to have to deal with the electronic health records stuff. And now you have all these healthcare systems buying up these small doctors' offices and forcing them basically to be a part of the hospital system because they need privileges to do operations and to see patients inside of the hospital. Well, you can't get those if you don't, buy into the hospital systems crap. So in exchange for having those privileges, a lot of those doctors have to have their patients either come to the hospital systems clinics, or they have to convert their current existing practices, or they just allow the hospital to buy up their practice, and then they just become a part of the hospital system. The physicians become a part of the hospital system. So there has been this active transition for a very long time, for about 15, 20 years, to get to where we are now. So over this period, they have collected a bunch of data on us. And this doesn't even talk about um, how employers have these employee health plans where they have a nurse practitioner or nurse on site, and these people check them. They enter data in the system. They do a little bit of preventative stuff, checking blood pressure, asking about smoking and drinking, et cetera, et cetera. They put this stuff in the system. They order medication. So if you have high blood pressure, that's detected. They send your information. They give you a prescription. They're able to give you a prescription. They send it to the pharmacy. That goes into the database. So they have collected a lot of information because these employers offer insurance where they pay, anywhere from 70 to 80% of the cost of the insurance, and the employee pays 30, 35%, the difference. And for that benefit, you have to relinquish your health information in order to get that benefit. And the employers are entitled to that information. The insurers are entitled to that information because they pay, whatever co-pays or whatever they have to pay for you. So we screwed, y'all. We are screwed.
Shopping behavior, temporarily limited to districts, but only a matter of time until it is delivered to individual people. If you live in a district where a lot of unhealthy stuff is consumed, does it affect your life insurance, pension, death, etc.? We already checked the liquidity of all customers, but it's still quite old-fashioned. With the
So let me share something with you why this is so problematic, and why I say the new system will be as discriminatory if and punitive, if not more so than it is already. And that's because you think about how a lot of cities, and I'm just speaking of America, how America's cities are drawn up to be so racist and segregated. So you'll have communities that don't even have a grocery store. They only have, drug stores or liquor stores and fast food restaurants. And the grocery stores that they do have don't have a whole lot of healthy options, or the quality of the food in there is poor. So the people in those communities have bad health outcomes. And then the groceries are more expensive compared to wider, suburban, more wealthier communities. So when this system switches over, and again, this data is already available. These people know where the bad neighborhoods are. They know where the poor neighborhoods are. They know where the people already have high rates of kidney disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, because they got drugstores in the communities, because they're putting up dialysis centers everywhere in those communities. So they already know where the poor health um, people live. When this new system comes, those people are going to be penalized because they didn't have nothing to do with drawing up how their city was designed. They didn't have nothing to do with the fact that city planners don't put businesses or encourage businesses to go to provide good services to poor people. They're just stuck in circumstances after circumstances after circumstances. And then Now, when the system switches over, they're going to be penalized for not being healthy when it's, they I guess you could say, they could drive to another neighborhood and shop, or create their own economies and have their own stores, grow their own food, but nobody else has to do that. And so, why is it that we do? But there has been this historic um, policy of benign neglect in our community. And so, I'm saying all this to say, when the system transitions, you already see how Black people are going to be penalized. So we're going to pay higher rates for car insurance. We're going to pay higher rates for health insurance because we're not healthy. And nobody's addressing the systemic racism and anti-Blackness in any of it, or they won't whenever it's instituted. They'll just carry on business as usual. Folks will complain or not, or be excluded from the system. They're going to check your credit, but they're not going to do anything. They're not going to give us any reparations for all the discriminatory practices that they've done to us for hundreds of years. We just got to pick up where we left off, start in a new system, deal with the discrimination that we've already had to deal with, and then we get a new set of cards, but it's from the same old racist dealer. We screwed. We are screwed. African American Black people will be screwed. The majority of us are going to be screwed.
The coming technological advances, digital ID, digital currency, we will be able to check their liquidity in a real time via interfaces with banks, credit institutions, etc., as well as the tax circumstances of each customer. I can't believe it. Also planned and already scheduled as a pilot project for 2025, a cooperation with the Federal Ministry of Defense, National Security. If a vehicle is registered to a politically exposed person and there's a suspected case, this person will no longer be able to start their vehicle. It will be deactivated via remote monitoring, and this applies to all private vehicles. A powerful RFID chip will be built into these digital ID cards. This enables a close coupling of 10 meters, but monitoring and localizing with an accuracy of approximately 1000 meters.
So you heard that. Your digital ID card, which will be on your cell phone, will have, or on your person, will have a, a chip in it that can be accessed remotely and gives information on you. So if you are you have some type of political view that is in opposition of the powers, you can be cut off. Your car won't start. So if you go someplace and you said something and they get whiff of it, they can just be like, boop, your car won't start. So if you're in another state, you're trying to get home to go to work or get your kids or whatever, you just stranded. You can't move. And then you probably have something programmed and tagged next to your name, so you might not even be able to get on a train. You might not be able to get in a car with somebody else, because if they count passengers and you're in a car with somebody else, then that person is also going to be penalized for transporting too many people, and their insurance is going to go up. So it is going to be a system of snitching, and a system where you will be persecuted by your friends, family, and neighbors, because they're all going to be living the same way. This is not a system that y'all want, and I should hope that you all really understand what is coming and push back. This is why you gotta push back. We are not crazy. This stuff is just a few years away, and some of it is not even a few years away.
This is of particular interest to the insurance company because in the event of damage, we can more easily locate the people, acts of damage, crimes, those involved. We are already in negotiations with the European digitalization and data protection managers to also be able to access this data in more detail. justified under the name of security, customer friendliness, and digitalization. The background is the boom in accident insurance, where we are, of course, interested in how often, when, how, and above all, where each customer moves. Our pilot projects with the connection to AI are particularly interesting here in ongoing cooperations with Google and Microsoft. In the next 5 to 10 years, if not much sooner, there will be a revolution both in areas of digitalization and AI that will make the invention of the internet look like the invention of the pencil. This is not a joke. These are projects that we are already piloting in the implementation testing phase in the insurance sector.
So you heard that Microsoft and Google are working on this. Now, y'all know Sam Altman from OpenAI just got a job working with Microsoft. They're already partnering. She talked about AI. So you see how everybody is working together behind the scenes. And thankfully, you have people on the inside who are seeing this stuff being rolled out, giving us a heads up about what is coming. And I'm grateful for those things. I listen to those. That's why I listen to a lot of different types of channels, a lot of different type of people, because people are talking, people are opposed to this. But it's so many people around us who are just naive to what's happening. You don't really, it's very hard to push back because people don't care. And they won't care until their car won't start. They won't care until they're impacted personally. By then, it's too late.
In the coming years, owners of electric cars will be prepared to pay a battery tax instead of an engine tax. Reason: batteries pose an increased risk, fire, and are harmful to the environment, disposal. Payment is made on a sliding scale, watt-hours per kilogram. Already in are insurances for autopilots. Here, the higher your insurance amount, the safer your autopilot will act. What?
So the more money you pay for insurance, the more likely your autopilot in your car is to keep you safe. But if you pay less money, your car might not work right, or your car may not keep you as safe. So they'll even be able to selectively. It's like eugenics for your car, eugenics in insurance. Eugenics is going to be in everything.
Don't be under any illusions that the autopilot will act the same in all vehicles in the event of an accident. At every point of time, we know who, when, how, and why is in the car.
And that's because everybody's digital ID going to be telling on them. In addition to all this broadband internet everywhere, it's going to be pinging and tinging and reporting to everything. So you are going to be living in a digital concentration camp.
I'm baffled. I have to say I'm baffled. I don't know what to say. So I'm going to repeat that now. Don't be under any illusions that the autopilot will act the same in all vehicles in the event of an accident. At every point in time, we know who, when, how, why is in the car. And the sentence before that was, here, the higher your insurance amount, the safer your autopilot will act. So is it saying that the more you pay for your insurance, the better your autopilot will be when it comes to accidents? I mean, this is wild. This is wild stuff. I'm going to post this message as a comment, as a pinned comment in this comment section. So I don't know what to say. It's really very dystopian, very much like in the book 1984. And it's getting worse. It's getting worse. The more I dig, the worse it's getting. And I'm really questioning in what kind of world we are living. It's crazy, guys. This is something that we have to resist. We have to resist this, otherwise, we will lose all of our freedoms. Crazy.
All right. So, um, we have been talking about all this stuff all year long, or probably maybe a year and a half. And I was talking about it a lot more on Medium when I used to write about it because I could research and I put links, but I can't even I can't hardly put any links in anything on YouTube because it flags the videos. So a lot of times I want to share more stuff with you, but I can't because the algorithms just suppress it. And in addition to, they know what I talk about, so I'm shadow banned in a lot of ways. But understand, this stuff is right at the door. They're already piloting it. A lot of it has already been piloted. You think about these safe insurance programs where they had you put the little thing in your car and people was driving around with it, driving safe. Them people was collecting information and seeing just how foolish you would be if you would take that and allow them to collect data. Every time they want to collect data, you should be saying no. For everything, should be reject. No, don't leave no cookies on nothing. No, you can't collect nothing. No, if it's an unnecessary app, no, I don't want it. You should be rethinking what is necessary, even if you consider it necessary. Really, we need to be thinking about going back to the old days, because the more we progress towards digitalization, the worse things are going to be for us. And it is happening so fast because so many people are not really paying attention. So, with that said, I'm still promoting primitive living and season of discomfort. You're gonna have to learn how to live without digital stuff. You're gonna have to figure out ways to get about without participating in this system, especially if you're in the West, Canada, Europe, America. I'm not saying it's not gonna be in other places, but they are targeting us with a vengeance because the Western white nations are some of the biggest consumers of stuff in addition to China and India, some of the other, Asian nations. And so they're targeting certain nations and certain economies because of consumption and their belief that this will keep the earth from heating up and do some whatever with the greenhouse emissions. But it's really judgment that they are trying to prevent. They're trying to prevent the world from heating up, but they ain't gonna be able to stop it because the Most High gonna heat this sucker going up. And there's nothing they're gonna be able to do about it. But they gotta fool us and get us to doing all this stuff like fools so that they can prepare us to fight the Most High. Um, when he returns, his son returns. So understand, insurance industry is collecting information on us in all areas of our life, from car insurance to health insurance, home insurance. They know all these different things about us. They know a lot of our habits. They just know too much. And that's on us. Like, we didn't know what the plan was before, but now we know better. So we got to do better. So whatever you do, please, please, please do what you can to de-digitalize your life. You got to fight digitalization. You got to understand what's coming. And even if you can't stop it, you can be proactive and plan how you're going to live without participating in this system. I realize some people may not be able to. You may have to go into a certain point. We all may have to, but the big picture she broke down in her video. And so if you have anything you'd like to add, please leave it in the comments. Um, I, it's clear to me, and everything that was mentioned in this letter, I see clearly. I've been seeing it for the last couple of years. I can't get people to believe it, but it's here. It's here. As soon as this economic system collapses and as soon as they're able to institute this CBDC, it's over. It is over. Once you seize people's money and they, in order for them to have it, they got to get a digital ID, they got a digital wallet, they got to get a digital wallet, they got to do all these things, jump through these hoops. It's over. It is over. It's over. So pay attention to what's happening. Listen to the whistleblowers, people who are trying to warn you, who are on the inside. Um, Take heed. Keep praying, keep prepping, keep seeking the Most High. Definitely keep prepping because we don't know when this system is going to switch and things are going to happen. But it looks like the next phase of whatever they're trying to do is on its way now, underway. So you can assume that in the next, year or two, there are going to be some significant changes. Because if this cough cough gets out of control, they're going to lock us down. They're going to finish implementing all their plans while people are in the house. You're going to see stores change. They're going to have the barcodes at the door where you got to scan to get in. You're going to start seeing, all kinds of stuff just pop up out of nowhere. They are ready. They already told you they're going to accelerate the agenda, and they are doing so. You have knowledge, you have the wisdom, share it with other people, prepare for what's coming because it is not going to be nothing nice, especially for poor people and African American people, Black people in general. You're already discriminated against. You're already going to be penalized. You're already persecuted now. It's just going to be a continuation of what is going on now, but it's going to be worse because everything's going to be tracked. And with AI, it's like non-negotiable. Once it's programmed, that's it. If they're going to be collecting data on race and the people who program the stuff is racist, guess what? You have racist outcomes. You can have anti-Black outcomes. So this is why I talk about this stuff on this channel so much because I understand it's just white supremacy 2.0. There's nothing new under the sun. They don't have no new tricks. They just got a new way of oppressing us, and they're going to add more people to it. But make no mistake, we are going to be at the bottom. We are going to suffer the brunt of it, which is why you're going to need to be praying and repenting and seeking the Most High and keeping that Sabbath and go back to those law, statutes, and commandments, those old ways. If you do what the word said do back in the old days, do what our ancestors did, we'll be okay. But you got to get your mind right and program your mind to think that that was for us. We're not supposed to live like this. This ain't for us. So, because it's not for us, you don't have to accept it. If you do accept it, you accept all that comes with it, including your persecution and possible deletion. So, with that said, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification, all notifications, so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload new content. Follow me on Rumble, Odyssey, Facebook, and on Instagram. The links are in the description. And if you like to support the channel, if you appreciate this type of content, I gladly accept your donations. The links are in the description on ways for you to contribute to the channel. It's time for people to wake up, and you got to make a choice. Everybody got a choice to make. I can't make your choice for you, but I can tell you it's time to choose, and it's no time to play. All right. This is Marley K, and I am out.